A commotion broke out near the doors. One of the bodyguards stepped in, dragging a figure behind him. It was Olivia, her hair tangled, dress wrinkled, mascara streaked from tears and panic. She stumbled to the floor, barely catching herself. Her father didn't hesitate. He stormed over and kicked her without mercy, rage overtaking whatever scraps of dignity remained. "You ungrateful brat!" he roared. "You ran away with that penniless boy? Do you want to drag our whole family name through the mud?" Without waiting for an answer, he yanked her up by the arm, forcing her to her knees in front of me. "Apologize to Aiden, right now. Swear you'll marry him." But Olivia didn't flinch. Her eyes locked on mine, full of fire, and with a defiance I'd seen before, she spat right onto my Italian leather shoes. "I would rather die than marry Aiden," she hissed. "The only one I've ever loved is Lucas. If it has to be Aiden, maybe in my next life." Her mother rushed forward, trembling, hands fumbling for a handkerchief as she desperately tried to wipe the spit off my shoes. "Please. She doesn't know what she's saying. She's confused. Please forgive her." But I didn't move. I just watched, quiet, calm, because I'd seen how this story ends once before. And this time, I was the one writing the ending. "Aren't you out of your mind, Olivia?" her father exploded. "Do you even care about this family? About the business? You're going to be the death of me." Olivia paused, then slowly rose to her feet, brushing invisible dust off her dress like a queen preparing for war. Her voice was calm, but laced with venom. "Fine," she said. "For the sake of our precious family business, I'll marry him." Her eyes flicked toward me. "But it'll just be in name. You can't stop me from seeing Lucas. We can have a wedding. But I won't be signing the marriage certificate. I'll give you until tonight to decide. But if you're late, don't bother calling." That was always her way, relying on my affection to test my limits, one step at a time. But this time, I wasn't the same boy who once followed her around like a loyal shadow. I looked at her, cold and unmoved. "You really think I'd want a woman who gave herself to another man as my wife?" Her face went pale, like I'd just sucked all the oxygen out of the room. I didn't stop there. "In business," I added, "I despise arrogance and secrets. Unfortunately, you embody both." Her parents stiffened. They knew exactly what I meant. Last night, when their bodyguards had finally tracked her down, Olivia had been tangled. Up with Lucas, lost in each other, too deep to notice the world burning around them. They'd scrambled to cover it up, applying makeup to hide the damage and dressing her up like nothing had happened. But they'd forgotten one thing: my informants don't miss a thing. "I didn't mean to keep it from you," her father stammered. "I just hadn't had the chance to—" I raised a hand. "No more excuses. Our business deal will remain intact," I said quietly. "But push me further, and I can't promise that'll stay the case." Olivia muttered curses under her breath as her parents dragged her away. I didn't flinch. I'd already made up my mind. That afternoon, I got in my car and headed to the company, this life, this version of it. I had no intention of letting her destroy me again. I would rise higher, faster, armed with memories from a past that hadn't been kind. I had already invested in a booming new industry, and if the numbers played out, I'd be sitting on a tenfold return in just 2 years. But peace doesn't last long in stories like mine. Halfway through a board meeting, I heard a commotion outside. One of my assistants rushed to the window. A luxury car was drifting wildly into the parking lot, tires screeching like a scene out of a drama. And from it stepped Olivia and Lucas. I frowned. What the hell were they doing here? Minutes later, the office door burst open. "Aiden," Olivia said with a smirk. "I'm just here to accompany Lucas. He's submitting his resignation." Lucas, my assistant. There was always something bitter about the whole situation. Like, Your neighbor stealing your wife and waving as they moved in next door. For resignations, I said calmly, go to HR. Follow protocol. She peeled off her sunglasses, eyes gleaming with spite. If you want to cry, Aiden, go ahead. Poor little lapdog. I ignored her and went back to my work. 3 minutes later, bang. She kicked the office door open again, Lucas following like an obedient shadow. Aiden, are you out of your mind? Can't have me, so now you're punishing him? How pathetic. Feigning confusion, I asked, is there a problem with the resignation process? You know damn well what the problem is. Why did you take back his luxury car and the mansion? Those were his bonuses. I almost laughed. My company pays more generously than 90% of the industry, I said. And yes, Lucas was given access to high-end perks. But ownership? That only comes after 5 years of service. He's barely been here 3, so yes, those go back to the company. Olivia's eyes narrowed, her fury boiling over. Stop lying. This is personal and you know it. You're jealous. Miss Olivia, I said, lips twitching into a smirk. Don't flatter yourself. You're not worth rewriting policy over. Check the contract. Everything is by the book. Her shouting had already drawn a crowd outside the office, employees who remembered every time she'd belittled them. Now they stood watching, arms crossed, whispering behind cupped hands. Why would President Aiden ever chase after her? One muttered. She's not even in his league, said another. Lucas? Seriously? He couldn't shine Aiden's shoes. Red-faced, Olivia snapped. You think you're all so clever? You're nothing but low-class workers. You'll never afford a single one of my outfits. Then she turned back to me. And remember this, Aiden. I already registered my marriage with Lucas. I don't need you. Not in this life. She grabbed Lucas's hand. You'll be crawling back to me in 3 days. Just watch. I stared at them, unmoved. Such a lovely pair, I said coldly. Like Shimen King and Pan Jinlian. Killing their own spouse and then laughing at the grave. Her steps faltered. Her smirk slipped. Then suddenly, Olivia turned back. She let go of Lucas's hand, marched into my office, slammed the door shut behind her, and when it was just the two of us, she looked straight at me. Her voice dropped. Aiden, did you come back to life too? I froze. Her words hit me like, a truck, she sneered. No wonder you're different this time. Turns out, Olivia wasn't the only one who'd been reborn. She looked at me, smirking like she'd won the jackpot. Crazy, right? 1 second I was poisoning you. The next, I was back at our engagement party. There wasn't an ounce of regret in her eyes. Just pride. She had no shame. The moment I realized I got a second chance, I made up my mind, ditch the engagement, run to Lucas. You? Just a useless little mutt I dragged around for 10 years. I stared at her, the betrayal still fresh like an open wound. You killed me, and you don't even feel a flicker of guilt? She scoffed. Please, Aiden, you stood in the way of me and Lucas. Of course you had to go. You forced me into that marriage. You deserved it. Her logic, it was twisted beyond belief. In our last life, the only thing I ever insisted on was marrying her. If she had asked for a divorce even once, I would have let her go. But she never did. Because life as Mrs. Aiden was just too good to give up. She lived like royalty, drinking glacier water from Sweden, eating delicacies flown in from around the world. Wearing couture no one else could touch. She enjoyed it all. And when Lucas came crawling back, she didn't return to him for love. She did it for the thrill. That night, just before the big negotiation, she told me straight up, she was bored, tired of me, craving something new. I had already agreed to the divorce, but she still chose poison. And now, I was back, with every memory of what she'd done. Through clenched teeth, I asked, "Aren't you afraid of my revenge?" She burst into laughter, like it was a joke. Then do it. Kill me. Throw away everything you've built, your company, your future. I dare you. She leaned in close, smug. Face it, Aiden. You might have died, but I came back stronger. And I'm marrying Lucas. You? Don't even think about crawling back. And with that, she walked away, laughing, mocking. But I didn't need to chase revenge, because the man she chose, he'd handle that for me. Lucas was a nightmare she hadn't even begun to understand. Sure enough, the next day, Olivia posted her marriage certificate online, trying to humiliate me publicly. Her parents found out from reporters and fainted in shame. When they woke, they cut ties with her immediately. Olivia didn't back down. She fired back, saying she was done with her family too, and demanded Lucas throw her the grandest wedding the city had ever seen. We need to shut them all up, make them choke on their gossip, she said. But the budget she wanted? Nearly 30 million. Lucas only had 10. Frustrated, he snapped. Why blow all that on appearances? What about our future? Olivia lost it. My engagement party with Aiden cost 20 million. Are you saying you're worth less than him? She scoffed. You think I'm vain? I didn't even ask for a dowry. Aiden gave me over 200 million. What did you give me? Lucas was stunned. Then why don't you go marry him? And just like that, the cracks started to show. The fairy tale illusion broke, but he backpedaled, apologized, begged, claimed he was stressed from layoffs and planning. Olivia bought it, for now. Eventually they agreed. Olivia would sell her company shares to get 20 million, combine it with Lucas's 10, and they'd have enough for the wedding of the century. But I wasn't going to let that wedding go smoothly. Not after everything. I slid a photo across my desk to my assistant, a quiet smile on my lips. Let's add some excitement to their big day. While Olivia played house with her pet project, I was busy growing an empire. I had just acquired a game company, run by college students. In my past life, Lucas had stumbled into owning 2% of their shares. That tiny stake alone earned him the fortune he used to challenge me. But this time, I bought it all before he could blink. Lucas didn't know it yet, but I'd already cut his future off at the knees. Just then, there was a knock at the door. My assistant poked in. President Aiden, the overseas partner insists on a face-to-face. I stepped out of my office and froze. A woman was waiting for me, someone I hadn't seen in years. Claire? She turned, smiled gently. President Aiden, long time no see. My heart paused for a beat. Back then, Claire and I were just neighbors. Her family wasn't part of old money like mine. They were new wealth, moving next door when the economy boomed. She used to look at me with quiet affection, but I only had eyes for Olivia. And now, in this life, Claire had returned, right on time. Claire had always been graceful, but I was blunt, cold even. Miss Claire, learn some self-respect, I'd told her, back when I thought life was black and white. You know I have a fiancé. Stop chasing me. It was harsh, maybe even cruel. But Claire? She didn't flinch. She just smiled gently, eyes steady. Aiden, she said, I'll always love you. If you and Olivia ever fall apart, I'll come back for you. Then she boarded a flight and vanished from my life. 10 years passed. Olivia went back to Lucas, and whispers of our divorce made their rounds. Just like she said, Claire returned. Aiden, she told me, I'm here. I heard the rumors, and I'm ready to chase you now. After everything with Olivia, I was drained, emotionally bankrupt. Claire's presence was like a breeze on a suffocating summer night. I laughed, more out of relief than amusement. Fine, I said. I'll divorce Olivia tonight and marry you tomorrow. But fate had other plans. I didn't survive past that negotiation table. This time, history was rewriting itself. My engagement with Olivia had already fallen apart. And right on cue, Claire returned, same warmth in her eyes. "Aiden," she said, "I've come back to pursue you again." She booked us dinner at the luxurious Starlight Hotel, claimed it was business, but her gaze gave her away. Then fate threw in a little drama. Just one screen away, at the next table, sat Olivia and Lucas. Their voices weren't exactly subtle. "Lucas, how many times must I say this?" Olivia hissed. "The invitations must be made of 24-karat gold. Names engraved. Why'd you switch them with this garbage?" Lucas, clearly holding back rage, muttered, "They're gold-plated and cost 1,000 each. Real gold ones? 10,000. Where are we getting that kind of money?" But Olivia wouldn't back down. "In my world, wedding invites are gold. Aiden and I gave out gold bracelets at our engagement. You want me to settle for paper?" Lucas snapped. "Then go marry Aiden. I can't afford your vanity." And just when it felt like the scene couldn't get any more ridiculous, Olivia shrieked, "We have to invite Aiden. If he sees this tacky wedding, he'll laugh at me for life." Claire beside me burst into laughter, quiet at first, trying to stifle it behind her hand. Her cheeks flushed pink. I couldn't hold it either. I took her out to the balcony, and for the first time in ages, we laughed until our sides hurt. When we finally calmed down, she looked at me. "You're seriously going to their wedding?" I smirked. "Of course. I've got a gift planned. Something they'll never forget." Claire grinned. "Then count me in. I wouldn't miss this show for the world." And what a show it was. The $30 million wedding Olivia bragged about was live-streamed, flaunted as a $200 million spectacle. To the untrained eye, it looked like royalty. But to those who knew better, it was all smoke and mirrors. A hollow display built on borrowed money and pride. Suddenly, the spotlight hit me. Sentimental music played. Lucas took the mic, smiling like a politician on stage. "Thank you, Aiden," he said, "for giving me Olivia. She's the kindest, most beautiful woman I've ever met. If we have kids, we'll make you their godfather, so they can learn your generosity." A backhanded jab. A public green hat. I smiled, steady and sharp. "I should thank you," I said, "for marrying the woman I once loved. I couldn't give her happiness, but you were willing to take on the burden." The message was clear. A recycled bride with a new groom acting like a hero. Lucas's smirk vanished. And just then, chaos. A pregnant woman stormed onto the red carpet, snatched the mic. "Lucas!" she cried. "I'm carrying your child. You have to take responsibility." Gasps, silence, and then boom. The big screen lit up with receipts, their photos, chats, hotel bookings, ultrasound scans. Everyone in the room froze. Everyone watching online? Floored. I leaned back, sipping my drink, the faintest smile playing on my lips. Enjoy the gift, I thought. Olivia, Lucas, this one's for you. The woman? Amy. In my last life, she had quietly married Lucas, after Olivia and I split. 8 months pregnant when they wed. Lucas never acknowledged the timeline. Never owned up. They divorced 3 years later. He vanished from her life. I tracked her down. She told me the truth, how Lucas used her, then tried to buy her silence with $5 million. She was going to disappear. But I made a counteroffer. 20 million. One condition, crash the wedding. She didn't hesitate. And as she was dragged out by security, the guests didn't need any explanations. They turned to Olivia with amused glances. And Olivia? She just stood there, frozen. Her perfect fantasy wedding, shattered before her very eyes. Only when Olivia noticed the quiet smirks from the guests did it hit her. How ridiculous she looked, standing there in her glittering white wedding dress, center stage in a scandal that wasn't supposed to be hers. She whipped around, her voice sharp and shaky. "Lucas, what is this? Who is this woman? Is she really carrying your child?" Lucas, flustered, stammered, "It's fake. It has to be. Doctored. With today's tech, anyone can fake a video." But Amy wasn't going quietly. Even as the guards began to drag her away, she screamed through tears, "Lucas, I'm not lying! Just wait till the baby's born! Get a test! You're the only man I've ever been with!" "How could you treat me like this, you bastard?" Olivia stood frozen, like the world had cracked beneath her heels. Lucas's eyes darted around in panic until they landed on me. And then, he pointed. "It was Aiden. He planned all this. He's the only one who'd do something like this." Olivia's daze snapped. Her voice rose with unhinged laughter. "So it was you, Aiden, caught red-handed." I raised an eyebrow, calm as ever. "Lucas can't keep his pants on and somehow, that's my fault?" Then Olivia's eyes slid to Claire beside me, her face twisted with disgust. "And her? Can you keep your pants on? Is she your new toy?" Pathetic. That hit a nerve. I stared straight at Olivia, anger simmering just under the surface. "Claire and I are a proper couple. We've got nothing to hide." Claire didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped up, cool, composed, and said, "Exactly. We're not hiding anything." She winked at me, and I smiled. Took her hand in mine. Olivia's face turned ghostly pale. "You're lying. You've always been obsessed with me. You'd never look at someone else. That arrogance of hers. Even now, after everything she'd done, she still thought the world revolved around her." I looked her straight in the eye. "After all the pain you caused me, did you really think I'd wait around for you? Even after the poison in my last life? No. That shame ends with you." Without another word, I walked away, Claire's hand in mine, as Olivia stood behind us, trapped in the mess she'd created. Out by the river, in the quiet night, Claire finally spoke. "Sorry for pretending to be your girlfriend. I hope I didn't cross a line." I lit a cigarette, the smoke curling in the air. "Don't be. I should be thanking you. You got me out of that circus." She hesitated, then asked softly, "Aiden, I came back for you, to pursue you. So, would you be willing—" "I don't know what love really is anymore," I cut in gently. "I thought marrying someone and earning money for her meant love. But Olivia, she never gave it back. She poisoned me, and I still didn't see it. That wasn't love. That was blindness." Claire met my gaze, something honest and quiet shining in her eyes. "I understand. Then I'll just stay by your side, until you're ready." The fallout from that wedding disaster didn't end there. Olivia rushed to issue a public statement. Claimed Amy was paid to crash the ceremony, that the baby wasn't Lucas's, and that every photo and video had been forged. She promised legal action to clear her name. But that legal notice? It never came. Of course it didn't. Amy had already boarded a flight overseas, carrying $20 million in hush money, the deal I'd personally arranged, because when people work with me, I treat them with respect, with dignity. Sadly, some people can't even manage that in their own homes. After the wedding, Lucas's parents moved in with the newlyweds. "Finally," his father said, looking around the villa, "we get to live in a real house. Our boy really made it." Olivia, disgusted, snapped back, "This house was my money, not Lucas's. You two have no right to even be here." The tension snapped like a whip. Lucas's parents, used to running things, didn't take her words lightly. "You're just a daughter-in-law," his mother spat. "That doesn't make you untouchable." And when Lucas returned home, he found his parents hitting his wife. He didn't stop them. He just stood there, watching, sipping tea. He'd been under Olivia's thumb for weeks, her interrogation over Amy, her bitterness. It had all worn him down. Now, he let someone else do the punishing. Beaten, humiliated. Olivia turned to him, voice cracking. "You're just going to stand there? Say something." Lucas shrugged. "If it were strangers, I'd protect you. But it's my parents. I'm not going to fight them over you. That's when it finally hit her. Her husband was nothing more than a mama's boy. She ran home to the Olivia estate, tears staining her cheeks, shouting at the gates. But they didn't open. Her own parents had locked her out, the same parents she had once rejected after they tried to take her back in, feeling pity for her. But this time, they'd had enough. She knelt at their doorstep, all day, all night. But no one came. The Olivia family had shut her out for good. When she returned to Lucas's house, face swollen and pride shattered, she was no longer the high and mighty heiress. Lucas's mother spat a seed shell onto the floor and said coldly, "You're nothing now, so get off your high horse and clean." Olivia, too exhausted to argue, muttered, "I'll hire a cleaner." Lucas's father slammed his palm on the table. What a useless woman. And just like that, the once radiant bride became little more than an unwelcome guest in the home she thought was hers. You need a cleaner just to sweep the floor? At this rate, you'll blow through all your money. Lucas's mother barked, her voice dripping with contempt. Then, without warning, she yanked Olivia by the hair, shoving a broom into her hands. Olivia, once the jewel of high society, was now crying as she swept up spit shells off the marble floor, and that was only the beginning. From that moment on, the heiress became a maid, not by choice, but by survival. Every morning she cooked 3 meals for in-laws who saw her as nothing more than free labor. She hand-washed their laundry in freezing water, her delicate hands cracking with painful chilblains. Still, she refused to leave. She clung to the belief that Lucas, her Lucas, would one day rise again, just like he had in their past life. CEO, power, prestige. She still saw it in him. Or maybe she just needed to believe in something. Then one night, while Lucas lay snoring beside her, she checked his phone, and her whole world shifted again. Over $7 million in debt. He tried to explain it away. Just a bad investment, Olivia. We'll bounce back. We always do. But this time she didn't believe him. Something inside her had snapped. She thought of divorce, until 2 pink lines appeared on a pregnancy test. She was stunned. She'd always been careful. In 10 years of marriage in her previous life, she had never wanted children, and I had always respected that. But Lucas had grown desperate, pressured by his parents. For a grandchild, he'd secretly tampered with the condoms, without her consent. Cornered, Olivia gritted her teeth. "You'll raise the child, and then we're done." But fate once again twisted the knife. Just weeks later, Olivia caught Lucas red-handed, with his lover in their own attic. She overheard him mocking her. "She's sagging. Stretch marks. Boring. I feel nothing when I look at her." Enraged, Olivia stormed in. A fight broke out. In the chaos, Lucas pushed her, and just like that, the child was gone. At the hospital, the doctor looked at her gently but firmly. "You'll never be able to have children again." Lucas's parents were horrified, not at the tragedy, but at the inconvenience. "Divorce her," they said coldly. "She's useless now." Meanwhile, Amy, the very woman who had ruined Olivia's wedding, gave birth. The paternity test was made public. The child was Lucas's. I paid to keep that news at the top of the trending list. When Olivia saw it, she collapsed. Lucas's family, they were ecstatic. "Go get our grandson," they told Lucas. "Now we have a real heir," Olivia, shaking, said the only thing left in her arsenal. "I want a divorce." But Lucas made her pay. He demanded everything. The house, the assets. He left her with nothing. No skills, no education, no safety net. While she was drowning, the news broke. I had become the city's newest billionaire. With nowhere else to turn, Olivia reached out to me. We met in a parked car outside my office, and to my surprise, she brought Claire along. Her words were shameless. Aiden, I know you still want me. Claire's just an actress you hired to make me jealous. It's okay. I forgive you. Let's end this nonsense now. I was too stunned to respond. But before I could even open the door, a car came barreling toward us. I didn't think. I just shielded Claire. And she, without hesitation, clung tightly to me in return. The crash came loud and hard. I woke up in a hospital. First thing I did? Ask about Claire. The nurse smiled. The girl who protected you? She fractured her arm. But she should wake up soon. When I walked into her room, she was already awake, pale, but smiling. I was just about to find you, she said softly. I sat down beside her. She lifted the corner of her mouth, that familiar, brave little smile. Mr. Aiden, I'm still pursuing you, I smiled back. I agree. She blinked, surprised. The old me would have hesitated, but not anymore. In that crash, when life hung by a thread, we had protected each other. That, I realized, is love. Then came a voice, trembling. Aiden, do you really not want me anymore? I turned. Olivia stood at the door, tears streaming down her face. But it was already too late. The man behind the wheel that night? Lucas. When he was arrested, he shouted like a madman. How could you cheat on me, Olivia? How could you? The court gave him only 3 months. But in that short time, Claire and I got married. Olivia showed up at our wedding. She knelt. Outside the venue, sobbing, begging, I didn't even look back. Lucas, out of prison, couldn't find work. Angry, humiliated, he turned violent. And Olivia? She did the unthinkable. She poisoned him. In her last life, she poisoned the man who loved her. In this one, she poisoned the man she loved. 2 lives, 2 tragedies, and in the end, nothing. 1 year later, she was sentenced to death. That same year, Claire and I welcomed our first child.